This machine kills fascists.
Moron. He goes, "You got that right." Sure. Welcome back. And he's like Handsome Jack or something.
Right.
He's like, "Ow!" Doing all that whole shtick.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen number 2. There's a big part of the population that likes Wayne's World Part 2 better, right?
I don't know about better, but
Or am I totally making that up?
I don't know. I'm one of the weird part of the population that likes Bill and Ted 2 better.
Well. Yeah, there's a lot going on in that one.
It's super weird. I think actually a lot of people like that one because it's got death.
Yeah, I don't think of them as a sequel. You know, it's just.
Have you heard anything? Are we recording?
Yeah, we're going.
Oh man, because if we're gonna start off with some Bill and Ted. Hey everyone, welcome back to Hot Little Takes with Mike and Christian. The new Bill and Ted has a lot of buzz going.
Right. Is there a release date on that though?
Sometime this year, man.
Holy shit, is that right?
I'm excited. They got me on that franchise like Dark Crystal style. But it's like they're like now 50 years old. They still haven't made the hit to save the world, even though the second movie ends with that way. I guess it doesn't.
Right.
And so they have to like do some time traveling and interdimensional shit in like 80 minutes.
Nice.
And their daughters are coming along.
Oh.
And I think Death is in it, but like their band had broken up or something, so they like.
Oh my god.
Like that's gonna be good.
I can tell you now, it's gonna be.
It's gonna be good shit.
Wow. What's the next like sequel or unnecessary Netflix series that would appropriately play on your nostalgia and that you would embrace as a new sequel?
I think probably an actual like another Muppet literary adaptation would really get me.
Oh,
because we were talking
what?
We were just I don't know. Mark Cannon, I don't know how often he listens to this, but he was telling me that there was a good like Twitter thread about this, and Stephen King suggested they do Lord of the Flies, starring the Muppets.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but I don't know. We've talked about this before, like a good literary one. I think like you'd have to go one of the classic horror, maybe
Frankenstein or something.
Yeah, or Dracula. And like
I think
and like maybe Dracula's the only human in it, you know?
Sure.
It's Jude Law.
I took the fucking words right out of my mouth. Didn't we? So when we did, Mike and I were in a production of Dracula like 5 years ago, and as with every production we've ever been in, we usually cast the production with Muppets.
Yes,
because it kind of helps you.
Yeah, it helps you figure out like you know, obviously Bob Cratchit is Kermit the Frog,
of course,
whatever,
yeah,
that sort of thing.
Right.
I can remember how we did it with Dracula though.
I mean, you have to assume that Miss Piggy is Nina.
Sure.
And maybe a human plays Lucy.
Yeah.
You know, you have like Margot Robbie play Lucy.
And would Kermit be Harker?
Yeah.
And I guess
because he's like he's like the country lawyer salesman
and he's
guy.
kind of the leading man.
Yeah.
You know,
for lack of a real one.
Gonzo would be Van Helsing, I think Renfield would be Animal, probably. I'm also thinking of the way we played this. Actually, Logan would have.
Or is Fozzie Van Helsing?
Yeah, well,
or is he the
Fozzie would be a pretty.
Or is
funny
he the
Van
Texan
Helsing
guy that gets cut out of some of the stage
that's right.
shows?
There's a Texan in that thing.
I mean, because like maybe Gonzo's Seward.
Man, this is a fun idea. I think I'm on board for the
Dracula might be the next Muppet vehicle.
The Muppet Dracula.
I fuck with that.
That'd be great.
I fuck with that heavy. Also, especially with Jude Law playing Dracula.
Yeah, I'm all about Jude Law.
Because he's gonna bring it.
Yeah.
I've been rewatching The Young Pope in preparation for the new season.
You have, and our friend Huck just watched the entire first season.
And it is fucking better than I remember it being.
I watched like half of that first episode with him, and I was like, God damn it, this is such a good show.
Waiello, one of the finest characters I've ever encountered in anything.
Oh, man.
His introduction as he's texting in the confessional.
Well, and he's obsessed with that little,
that statue with the huge tits.
Yeah. He goes, "Are you sleeping, Holy Father?" He goes, "I'm praying for you, Cardinal." Yeah. I'm gonna have to probably rewatch that whole thing in like one weekend before it comes back in.
Yeah. You will do it.
Glee.
You'll do it very quickly.
Yeah.
You'll rewatch it very quickly.
I figure.
On the topic of popes, I was not in love with the two popes.
I did not watch it.
I did not watch it.
I did not watch a lot of the movies that came out.
We'll do movies later. I just wanted to get that one little.
This is actually our year-end review.
Yeah, let's bring it in a fish.
High five.
High five. 2020.
We did it. What is that? 12 episodes in a year?
Maybe this might be Baker's Dozens. I can't remember.
That's pretty good for guys that are constantly saying we'll have a next one
next week.
We'll have one next week. Yeah. We were gonna have this up before the end of the year.
Yeah, that didn't happen. But here we are now.
Yeah, at least we're reliably late.
Sure.
You know,
sure.
People learn to believe in that sort of thing.
So yeah, this is our much anticipated year-end review.
Yeah.
That we discussed.
Yeah.
Last time. We're gonna do, what did we call it? Our Ring of Champions.
Yeah. Our
Ring of TV Champions.
Yeah, there was
or what was it?
Yeah, there was something else to that. The Ring of Champions.
The championship ring.
Yeah, but there was like a prefix to it all.
Ah, son of a bitch.
Something fancy.
We might come back around to that.
We'll figure it out.
And then I'll shoot off about some of my movie list that I already disagree with.
Yeah, and we can talk about. I watched Marriage Story.
I think that's where we should start.
At your behest.
This is kind of the most.
At your insistence. I watched Marriage Story.
Okay. Two thumbs up, 2 thumbs down.
Oh, man. If we're going to break it down to, like, thumbs.
I'm about to cut mine off.
I might give it, like, a... Like...
2 half thumbs.
Like, a couple of sideways thumbs. I don't know.
Sideways thumb is better than a thumbs down.
I think if it were, like, Roman Emperor style, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I have to decide whether to let it live or not.
Live or die.
I'd probably kill them.
You would kill Marriage Story.
Kill Marriage
Whoa.
Story.
Okay. So, all right. So why? We've kind of gone over your shock and outrage at the knife scene.
Yeah,
which I think is a funny take. I haven't.
That was the first thing that like. Okay, so you have to understand. Like, I did not like. I'm not into.
You were hesitant.
I don't like to watch movies that involve intense relationship, heartbreak stuff. Like, it brings up a lot of...
Mike is a softie.
I'm a softie, and I've been through all of that shit.
Sure.
And I know how it feels, and I know how it's supposed to make you feel. And
sure.
It's not something I seek out. It's not a feeling that I, like, enjoy.
So it's a different hesitancy that you have than I think a lot of people who were children of divorce were kind of nervous about it in that way.
Yeah, and I didn't really...
That's not your story.
Didn't even cross my mind.
Not your journey.
Didn't even cross my mind because I'm looking at it from the point of view of, you know...
The romantic point of view.
Yeah, and, you know, someone who's been in those big breakups where children were involved, things like that. So, right off the bat, I was, like, hesitant to see the movie.
Sure.
And so there were multiple points throughout it where I was like, do I want to keep going? And I was like,
Did that happen in the first 5 minutes?
No, it
didn't. The letters are pretty... I think really take a toll on anyone's sappiness.
The letters were weird because the first time I tried to watch it, my Netflix was getting all messed up, so it was I was just seeing black, and I thought it was like a moody voiceover. And then when I finally got it working, I realized I'd missed just images, and it was way less effective than if it had just been them like saying those things. So anyway, off the bat, I was kind of hesitant. There were a lot of points where I was like, I don't know if I want to keep watching this. I wasn't super... The big thing that killed me was the knife scene.
Yeah, we can get to that.
Yeah, but initially, like, I think it was hard for me because I didn't really find either of the characters super likable.
Sure.
Like
I agree.
I think she was honestly more likable, but underwritten. And he's kind of this, and it's hard to watch it without separating, knowing that like the director is writing this after having gone through his own divorce,
right?
And so the analog for himself is this guy who is like a fucking genius. He got the MacArthur grant. His wife's whole character, his ex-wife's whole character is
she showed her tits in a teen movie one time.
And that she looked up to him for being such a genius. Like that's her whole like big monologue at the beginning. It's just like she's defined by him. And I thought that maybe at one point it was going to turn into a little Kramer versus Kramer, which is a great movie. And I would and I'd say like watch that instead of this. But it's a different kind of movie.
But that movie kind of does the same thing.
That movie
definitely takes
that movie puts all of its focus. Yes, it does.
But it doesn't pretend to split it either.
But it puts all of its focus on his relationship with his kid.
Yeah.
And this movie, like his relationship with his kids,
not great.
Was pretty sucky and didn't really seem to change much.
Yeah.
From what I could tell.
Right. I think that the movie kind of suffers from trying to evenly divide that attention but never really doing it. Like the kid is in the movie either a little bit too little or a little bit too much. Like they could have maybe sidelined the kid a little bit more and worked on the relationship between the two of them more, or just given Scarlett Johansson more of a character, or they could have pushed the kid element of the thing twice as much and it might have changed the dynamic.
The kid element was the thing that like they're having all of this, and you know that's what they say happens in these divorces is the focus becomes about who's winning and not the kid.
Yeah.
And the movie did that, but it never really like reconciled that by having them reprioritize.
Not really.
I mean until maybe the very, very end or whatever.
And the end we can talk about too, because the end, I guess it's supposed to be like a wink at uplifting, I suppose, but.
Yeah.
You don't really. The previous 90 minutes don't really set you up to think that way.
Well, that's the ending that they could have gone to an hour earlier when Alan Alda is his lawyer and he says, "Look, man, you should probably move out here if you want to have a relationship with your son. You're not going to be able to. And this kid can't have a life flying back and forth between New York and LA, you know, unless it's." Unless it's 6 months at a time.
And he doesn't appear to want to do that anyway.
Yeah, and like if you really want to prioritize, and there were a lot of things that bothered me. Like he was running this theater company, but he could spend half the year living in LA if he weren't the one demanding on directing every fucking play they have.
No, I thought the same thing.
I'm like, there's no reason why you can't have a functioning theater company. Like, look at Gary Sinise and John Malkovich, like those cats. Like, you can run a theater company with partners, you know. Like,
well, yeah, and if you're the artistic director, I mean, sure, your presence is necessary, but if you only need to be in rehearsal once or twice a year, I mean, that's what 6 weeks.
And they really casually bring up he comes in really casually with the MacArthur grant thing, where he's like, "Hey, I got the MacArthur grant." And they're like, "Oh, that's great," and you're like, "That's fucking amazing."
Yeah.
First of all,
yeah.
And then it really just became a plot point for why
he has money to afford what he's doing.
Yeah, why he could afford to like put up this battle and keep flying back and forth and all this shit.
Right, because you don't make that much money as a theater director in New York City. I think even if you are on the cover of Time Out New York, as he screams
well, and if he's got opportunities to direct out in LA and do this other shit like. You should try to do it all.
They talk about a residency at the Geffen, and I'm like, that's pretty sick. How would you not take that gig?
Well, and why could you not do that and still have your theater company running with some other trusted people directing some shows?
Yeah, you're the only person on the board?
Yeah, I mean, look at, we know directors who will go to another city and direct something.
Sure, artistic directors.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Murray used to do that. He used to direct in Virginia and all over the place.
There was a lot of theater-y stuff.
There's a lot of theater stuff set back, which was enjoyable.
People, yeah, and I think it's a movie for like people who don't know anything about theater to really be like excited about.
But it is, and I'll talk about this with another movie later. It's actually kind of understands the subject it's dealing with, which I appreciate.
Yeah,
it definitely was not like.
And there were a lot of things. There were a lot of things I was digging about the movie, but I was also kind of like, this better really pick up at the end. Mm-hmm. You know, and once they have this fight that I know is coming or whatever. whatever.
The big kind of centerpiece of the movie.
Yeah, the best characters were like Laura Linney and
Laura Dern.
Laura Dern. Sorry. Oh God, that's blasphemy.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Laura Dern's the best thing in everything she's in.
I thought Ray Liotta. Gives like the sort of somehow unsung supporting performance of that movie.
Well, and
it is intense.
And it was like based on those characters that our mains finally have the big breakdown that we've been waiting for them to have.
Uh-huh.
And he acted like an 18-year-old who's getting dumped for the first time. He's like, I hope you die, and cries.
Yeah.
And I like really was... So I'm losing more and more sympathy for Adam Driver's character throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And then it gets to this scene with the knife. And when
I love that we're yada-yadaing the most meme thing in the last 6 months.
What is the most memed one?
The fight.
Whatever. The fight was whatever.
Oh my god, there's so many funny things.
The fight was whatever. But the knife thing just kind of ruined the movie almost for me.
Tell everyone why. I've heard this before.
Okay, so they introduced that the kid, they're there with this like woman who's a comedian. There's a lot of like comic stuff that I'm like, is this supposed to be funny right now? Shit going on?
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's playing the observer for the court, and she's watching him and his kid, and the kid's like, do the knife thing. And you've seen him play with that little pen knife earlier.
Yeah.
And then he explains it, and he goes, oh, this was a gag I used to do, not for him, but for my ex-wife, where I pretend to cut myself. And he does it, and he cuts himself really badly. And then she's like, are you okay? And he's like, no, I'm fine. And he's like doing a clown routine, opening the door around her and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but it's horrifying. And you're like, why aren't you acknowledging that something's wrong? Like, he's so freaked out about losing his kid all of a sudden.
Right.
And like, it was a matter of the kid thing was like principle for him. But I was like nauseous and furious watching that. And I was like, you know what? This guy is an artistic director of a theater company and makes gags running around where he's like pretending to slash his throat with a little pen knife. Like I have no sympathy for him anymore. Like, a grown man shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't make a joke with a knife like that. Like, you just shouldn't do that. Like, you know there's a chance you could fucking do that. Those kind of knives. Like, and I can imagine a guy I know doing that. And you're like, you're a fucking idiot. Why would you ever do that?
This is...
Like, it was like, so if I knew that guy in real life, I'd be like, I'm not going to work with that guy. He runs around like... doing this kind of dumb juvenile shit, man. This guy won the fucking MacArthur grant.
Doesn't sound like a genius to me.
And you know what it seemed like to me is like, it seemed like like in the screenwriting, like a very clever idea. But then in the execution...
It is a really good clown routine that Driver puts on. Well, his physical acting is
and it's like a good thing, like, if it were like a novel, you'd be like, wow, that was intense. Like, he almost died out. Like, because you think he dies with his kid sitting there, you know? Like, he's not in the next scene for a couple of minutes.
I don't know if I ever was getting the impression that he might
that it, you know, that it was it was worse than it really was, or whatever.
Sure.
But I just was, like, kind of out at that point, man. I don't know. That's when I was like, nah. Oh, and then the thing that infuriated me to the point of no return was he immediately follows it up with, like, a 5-minute long rendition of...
the song from Company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being alive. Being alive. And you're like, he learned this big lesson.
You know, the song is kind of finally where I was faltering a little bit.
Well, it was almost a case of like something.
The first 40 minutes.
It was like a story that was like so personal that he kind of didn't change it enough from the personal stuff, maybe, to make it relatable for a lot of.
Well, who's to say?
Because there were points in that where I was definitely feeling bad for him, and I was like, man, this is what those like angry men's activists are always talking about, with like the fathers having a harder time in court or whatever. But then I was immediately like, no, wait a minute, this guy's a shitty dad. He cheated on his wife.
Right.
Like, he's getting everything he had coming, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely that's one of the things that I think that the movie struggles from too, is that you never see them together as a couple. So it becomes really hard to like
but
try and mourn their relationship when you don't really know what it is.
Well, and for a while you're like, why are they breaking up? They seem like they're okay. And then you're like, oh, they never should have been together in the first place. It seems
right,
like.
but then I don't know. I think I'm gonna rewatch it
like
soon.
Alan Alda tells him to move to California, and he's like, never happening. And an hour later, he's like, I guess I'll probably move to California for like 6 months out of the year. And you're like,
yeah,
that was so simple.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just like, man, if you can't uproot your life for your kid, you know, then figure out, you know, he's like, I refuse to have the kind of relationship where I don't see him very much. It's
right.
like, well, I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. Divorce is hard. Like, that's kind of the...
Sure.
I kind of wish that movie did have a little more, like you were saying, of the actual marriage. Like, I thought the divorce was going to kick in, like, halfway through that movie or something. So when it started off with that,
right.
I was kind of intrigued, but then...
Right.
It should have been called Divorce Story of a Man. A man's divorce... for this man is getting divorced.
I mean, the one thing that I would... and I know that the movie clearly draws from it, because there's two, like, big allusions to it in it, is people just watch Scenes from a Marriage. 6-part Bergman movie about a relationship, and you see them... The movie, like, that film opens with them, like, being interviewed by a magazine about being such a perfect unit together.
Like when Harry met Sally.
Is that how, oh, that's right, because that's right, it's all the couples.
I bet that's an allusion.
Allusion? But like in their apartment in New York, there's a clipping from New York Magazine or something of the two of them, and it says Scenes from Marriage at the top, and then I think one of the characters, I think that the girl that he sleeps with, cheats on her with, I think that character's name is Mary Ann, which is the name of
the girl that
Liv Ullmann's character in Scenes from Marriage.
I did really love.
Watch that.
I'm always a fan of Wallace Shawn.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Put some Wallace Shawn in there. I'm
Him
happy.
being the doddering old guy in the company. Love it.
Him being like, what was it? He's like, my pants don't fit, or he's like, I don't like to tuck in my
shirt. Yeah.
God. Or when he after he goes up to him and he's like, I know you're going through a hard time right now, but if I can give you one piece of advice, it's fuck as many people as you can right now. Men, women, everybody. Just go out there.
Wallace Shawn forever.
Yeah.
So you get.
You know he's in Toy Story. I always forget that.
He's the T-Rex.
Yeah, I always forget that, and I'm like, who else's voice is that? You know?
Yeah. He's a man all his own.
Yeah.
In his own class.
He's
sure.
one of those character actors who can play anybody, but he's always himself. You know?
Yeah, but you really need to see Vanya on 42nd Street. That's good, Wallace Shawn playing Vanya.
I would have liked to see him acting in a scene with Raul Julia.
I bet that probably happened in like New York in the 80s.
Yeah, I bet they were like in Shakespeare together or something.
Yeah.
They were like the clowns or some shit.
That's cool shit. It's nice to think about.
Yeah, I know. It's nice to think about. Anyway.
So you're a little mixed. Marriage Story's in my top 10 on the year. I did like it, but now that...
Sorry for ranting about it for so long.
No, that's what it's... Those were
a lot of takes.
Those are a lot of hot little takes.
Give us your opinion.
Mike looks doubly grumpy about movies because he's wearing an old beat-up Duff beer hat. You look like you write for like a post-hardcore magazine in like 2009.
I feel like a sports writer who's like about to get fired. Because like there's not a newspaper anymore.
Right.
I'm like, ugh, what am I
like
do?
we can't have people writing about horse racing anymore.
And I'm like no good for radio. Like I'm like a really bad personality.
Sure.
You know, I feel like that kind of guy.
Yeah, I like that.
But you, what would you give it? 2 thumbs up?
I mean, I think that I have it as number 8 on my top of the year, but
don't spoil those yet. We'll get to your.
But like I said, I already disagree with my own list. I need to go back and rewatch it because I remember being very affected by it at the time, just because it is such a. Well, it's such a grueling, long process. I mean, really, what it is a movie about the process of getting divorced,
right?
More than it is the story about those two people. And I guess like it's really just in like the putting yourself in the perspective, element of it. I found it very moving,
and I got that.
I do.
You also went into it looking forward to it, whereas I was like walls up already.
Right.
So
right. What do you think about the driver performance getting an Oscar?
I don't know. Like, when we talk about the Oscars and stuff, you've now seen a lot of those, so I can't really compare. But I just don't feel like this is the best kind of part for him. Like,
who else would you have rather seen in this role?
Like, I bet when Adam Driver did the knife scene, he was like, "There's no way I'd be dumb enough to do something like this."
Yeah, right.
I was in the
goddamn
Marines.
Yeah.
Like, you don't fuck around like this. Like, this is like, and I figured, like, you know, there's got to be dudes out there watching that who's like, this guy's a total fucking like artsy.
Oh yeah, guys when they're watching this with their girlfriends were like,
dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right. Does Jude Law make this movie better?
Playing that role?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, sure. You know, one thing that struck me is how much more attractive I think Scarlett Johansson is than Adam Driver. Like, he's an attractive guy, but Scarlett Johansson's ridden most of her career on just being seductive and attractive, I'd say.
Sure. Under the Skin was on a lot of people's top of the decade list, which I found really interesting.
I saw parts of it, but I really liked it better when it was called Species. I don't know if anyone remembers the movie Species.
Wow.
I saw it when I was like 13 at a sleepover, and we were all popping little boners over Natasha Hestridge, I think.
Is that who that is? God,
one of those models.
I actually don't know if I've ever seen Species. I think it's just cultural osmosis.
Well, she's fucking men and killing them, trying to have alien babies.
Bring back the alien baby genre.
Isn't that what Under the Skin is about? Basically.
Sort of. It's been a few years since I've seen it.
With some
it's definitely
Stranger Things.
It's got a trippy aesthetic to it. It's got good music. All right. Well, there's our cold open, bro.
Yeah. Like I said, this is gonna be our 3-hour year in review.
Yeah, exactly.
Episode.
Exactly.
Edited by Christian.
Edited, cut down, chopped and screwed by me.
Chopped and screwed.
All right, so let's take a little break. We'll come back and we'll talk about this championship ring.
Yeah.
Of
the annual championship, the annual tournament of championship rings.
Sure. There's not gonna be. Good for you.
Being alive.
Is he gonna get an Oscar nomination?
Murphy? Well, we're gonna find out. We'll find out. Oscar nominations come out on Monday, I think.
Yes. So next week, or next time we record, we'll be able to talk about those and the
Golden Globe winners. Yeah.
And test that against our predictions.
Which I have over there. Maybe we can wrap up by reading the secret code that our...
We'll recap them for everybody in case they want to see how well we do tomorrow.
Yeah, and how we stack up. Maybe, it is the new year, and something that we had teased before was that we were going to start a Twitter and an Instagram for this pod. So maybe we'll do that tonight. All right. Enough dithering.
Enough dithering and dathering. Are we back?
We're back. We're both taking a little stretch.
Oh yeah.
We're taking a little stretch because we're about to dive into the championship ring.
The first annual Hot Little Takes championship ring of television programs.
Sock it to me, baby.
Sock it to me.
All right. So what we did is we made a list. Like, we compiled a list of 8 shows, in no particular order, though. Play with yourself.
Play with yourself as you will.
Yeah.
We don't judge here. Hot Little Takes.
No, masturbation's good.
It's all about consent.
All the normal stuff. Just
I can offend anyone.
as long as everyone feels safe.
As long as you're in like a park.
What was the masturbation scene of the year?
Was there? I'm trying to think of anything I watched with the masturbation scene.
Definitely Pattinson in...
Oh, obviously,
Lighthouse.
The Lighthouse. That's no question. Nothing could beat that.
There's also Roman in Succession. against Jerry's bathroom door.
Not as effective. Like, I didn't walk away. Pretty effective, but like if you were to name like top 5 things that happen in the lighthouse, masturbation would be one of them.
Masturbation is a theme.
Whereas Succession, like, it would be like the 20th thing that happens in Succession.
Sure, you're totally right. So let's dive into this list. We got 8 shows here to make up our
top 8 of the year.
Our top 8,
and these are the ones we've both aggregated together, and we both watched and both decided that
we fucks with heavy,
and are into more seasons of all of them.
Yeah, and I think that all but one of these will have
one of them.
Or no, 2 of these won't actually. All right, so let's just get in. Our number 8 on this list is the What We Do in the Shadows show.
And these are not in no particular order.
No, not at all. I'm just reading down the list.
I finally just watched the What We Do in the Shadows TV show.
Late edition.
Based off of the movie, starring Jermaine Clement and Taika Waititi. And produced by them. Starring Matt Berry.
Yeah, Matt Berry, off the bench.
A tall version of our friend Stan. Basically.
Yeah.
And like a character he would play.
And he's great.
He's fucking hilarious. And really, the girl is like... She's
outstanding.
She's outstanding and captivating, to say the least. It's super funny. It's just like the movie.
Yeah.
It's like exactly like the movie.
And you think that that's going to hinder it when you start it? Because the film is just a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah. But it's different characters in this one. Which
even they kind of sing the same music.
They feel like they're in the same family, like they're down the block, basically.
It kind of reminds me of the latter seasons of Misfits, when like kind of all your primary characters have filtered out through various courses.
Which is when I checked out.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to, but when I stayed on and the new people come in,
they were fun.
Yeah, you embrace all of them and you love them just as much, if not more, I think, in some cases.
That's one of those shows I'm gonna go finish someday, like Boardwalk Empire, and just like get the last like season and a half I didn't do.
I think I've got like 3 seasons of Boardwalk Empire to finish, but I liked that show.
The last thing I saw was when his butler jumps out the window.
What?
Spoilers.
Who has a butler?
Who has a butler? Yeah, What We Do in the Shadows, if you're a fan of great comedy and vampires,
go for it.
Check out that movie, check out that show.
Yeah, can't recommend that one enough. All right. Moving down the list, and I think that that's the only show on this list we haven't discussed, but the next one is Undone.
Yeah.
Huge.
Undone.
Huge moment for you.
One of my, if we were doing a top 5 shows of the year now, this one would
still be on it.
Way up there, yeah. This might be like number 1 or 2.
Really?
Me. Yeah, I was just really affected by this one.
It's such a moving piece. Our friend Kyle Urban, shouts to Kyle one more time, got into this show because of your recommendation.
I have had a couple people say they've watched shows on account of listening to us, which is the biggest
compliment
flattery we could have, other than maybe a rating or a review, I guess.
Or money.
Or actual cash. Because you're going to have to find us personally, because we're not giving out any information at this point. But we're working on that.
Maybe by the time this airs, we'll have shit up.
Yeah, maybe we will.
What else do we want to say? I think that we both kind of waxed poetic about it when we talked about it.
Yeah, it's rotoscoped. It's about dreams and consciousness and
the way
reality.
The way that you participate
travel.
in affecting other people's lives.
Yeah, and it's it's really moving. It's not. It's
Seriously.
like a existential sci-fi story. It's not weighted down in science in too much business that's not directly affecting the characters.
No, it's like kind of a real feelings. Rollicking plot all the time.
Yeah,
but it has such an
emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, half-hour episodes, one of the best, qualities of show.
I think that main character was one of the most, for me, relatable characters I've seen in a long time.
Absolutely. And all of them. The sister was.
Because I have a thin grasp on reality. I think.
Yeah, the main character is definitely a Pisces. You can tell.
Yeah. Yeah. And a all around great performance.
Totally. Moving down.
What else we got?
Barry is in number 6.
Barry.
I should stop saying numbers because these aren't ranked at all.
Yeah, Barry's on the list.
Barry
was both of our number 5 for the first half of the year.
It was, yeah. Because I mean, at that point, it had really dominated, but that was pre-Undone, pre-Succession, a lot of.
The
things.
bald guy in Barry is going to be in the new Bill and Ted movie.
Fucking course he is.
Yeah. Which I can't wait.
Put that guy in everything.
That guy really steals every scene he's in.
Absolutely. And I think we talked about it when we talked about Barry originally, that anytime him and Hader are in a wide together, that Hader's always looking away.
Yeah, try not to laugh. Well, and this is Hader's real, he's the best guy to come out of SNL, I think, in a long time, which we were just talking about during the break, is become objectively bad, aside from a really good cast like Eddie Murphy or something.
Sure. Well, I mean, and we can maybe talk about this another time, but the Eddie Murphy episode is without question the best SNL in years, but it's still weak in a lot of places when it depends on other people.
Sure. Well, it goes to show how good that show was 40 years ago,
or just how good he is
50 years ago now.
It's nice to have Eddie Murphy back. We've talked about Barry a lot this year, so I'm not worried about.
Bill Hader really stepped it up though, and is killing it, advancing out of that.
All right,
sketch comedy world.
Now we're getting closer to the heart here.
Okay.
We got True Detective season 3 on the list right here.
Yeah.
The totally blackballed from the Golden Globes True Detective season 3.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of my face with that.
Yeah.
Nothing for Stephen Dorff, I think, or Mahershala, or the show in general.
Didn't Mahershala get nominated for the Green Book?
He won an Oscar for Green Book.
I feel like, and having not seen that,
yeah.
I feel like the work he did in True Detective was for any actor,
some of the best TV work I've ever seen.
Well, and just a ton of work. He did, hours and hours and hours of this character over the span of 40 years, 50 years.
And the camera's rarely off of him, honestly. He's just about in every scene of that.
Yeah.
Of that show.
He carries it on his back. And that's, that show I don't think has a best season, honestly. They're all fantastic.
They're all fantastic and all have their problems too.
Well, they all have their own. It's like any,
I love your take that there isn't a best season of True Detective. That's incredible stuff.
I mean, it's if you're into a good detective novelist or something, some of those stories might be a little weird, but they're all going to be their own thing.
Sure.
Sure. They're their own story. Their own vibe.
Last Good Kiss is definitely the best Crumley that I've read.
Well,
but he's the only guy that I've read enough books to say that I can really pick a favorite.
Well, you've got to read them all to do that anyway.
Truly. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, who knows? Pizzolatto could probably write 10 seasons of this.
Oh, sure. Has there been buzz on a season 4?
I doubt it because I think it takes it. I think he's taking the time it would take to write a good novel.
Yeah, because
on top of all the pre-production.
Yeah, because there was 3 or 4 years between season 2 and season 3.
There's a big gap.
That was a huge gap. So.
But I mean, look at Larry David.
Your show's never end your show.
He never. Yeah. Tell that story.
It was Mac and Dennis that he.
Yeah, the guy. Well, it was the guys from It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, were they asking him how to finish the show or just for advice?
You told me this story.
And he told them, never end your show. Never do a final goodbye season.
Yeah.
Just if you want to take a break, take a break.
Well, did he learn that from Seinfeld?
Yeah, because ending it was the dumbest thing they could have done.
And now Curb's gonna come back.
Yeah, new Curb looks great.
After 4 years, as if it were True Detective.
Well, it wasn't 4. When was the last season?
I don't know, but they'll take some long gaps on that.
Yeah, I love it.
As long as they feel like it. They're whatever.
I love you, True Detective.
Yeah, I love you, True Detective, and I'm looking forward to more, and I hope that there are more things in that genre because I dig it.
Yeah, I'm always here for crime stuff, and I'm always here for fucking character portraits like that show did. Because Mahershala's character, Stephen Dorff's character, it was just those two performances were incredible,
and you're right that they both got robbed for not getting nominated.
I think it's ridiculous. All right, staying in the crime zone.
Ooh, I think I know what.
Next one
you've typed.
Next one is The Deuce.
Yeah.
Season 3, final season of The Deuce.
There's the final season of a show that will never win any awards. Except for some retrospective thing.
That's just gonna die like a former porn star in a lonely hotel room.
You know, as if there was some legacy of some art house film left behind. You know, like The Deuce. I do feel like Vincent looking at the paper, reading about Candy's obituary. When I think about that show in the future,
when you listen to our podcast,
I'm gonna be like, good for her. She did it.
Yeah, it hurts that no one cared as much as we did.
Well, I mean, did critics like that show?
You know, I sometimes would struggle reading reviews because it seemed like people were just not as on board with that show.
Yeah,
and I've met people in my own life that I really recommended to. That
is it the kind of critics who like even know who those guys are or ever watched The Wire, like, or is it good critics?
You gotta think that a requisite to be a TV critic is having watched The Wire.
I don't think so, man. I think in this day and age, the prerequisite to being any kind of critic is just being able to type a semi-coherent sentence.
And we both can't type, so that's why we do the podcast.
Everybody's a critic. Oy vey.
Oy vey. I am not a critic of Deuce. I mean, we did a lot of Deuce criticism, but...
I wouldn't say we're critics so much as editorialists. Commentators.
We're just going to use this list to talk about us.
Ourselves.
It's
our year-end review.
It's a year-end review.
We started a podcast. We now have millions of listeners. Millions. That's an exaggeration. Hundreds of thousands of listeners.
Hundreds of millions.
Hundreds of billions.
Shouts to our listeners in Japan, Ireland, and Honduras. I think you're our primary...
Yeah,
primary international listeners, and shouts to you guys.
I think I missed our Japan guy while he was in town.
Shit.
Yeah.
This shit.
Yeah.
What else do you want to say about The Deuce? I mean, we unpacked this a lot during the course of the season. Show fucking rolled. We want to talk about character portraits. I mean,
watch the whole show. It'll take you like a day, and you'll love it.
Watch all 3 seasons? You can do it in a week, for sure.
Yeah, it's great.
It's like a great
It's like
read.
A book.
Yeah.
It's like reading.
It is. It is
the kind of thing where you're reading a good book. You know?
You ever done that? Have you ever read a book?
I mean, I haven't in a while, but I sure like to keep them around to impress people. It makes me look smart.
Mike and I gave each other the big hookups with books for Christmas this year.
Yeah, everyone got books for me this year.
So did everyone in my life.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. This is in our... I mean, and these are shows that we discussed as being probably our 3 favorite on the year. Fleabag.
Yep, which I know was your favorite.
That was my top, and we did the halfway through the year review. Fleabag fucking slaps, dude.
It's fucking great. I hope that show goes for several seasons.
That is the last season of that, and she said she has no intention of going back to it.
Well, then I'm looking forward to whatever else she's doing. Because she's and not just like, I like her like as that character Ferris Buellering to the camera like that. You know?
Of course. She is such a magnetic performer and such a charming writer.
Yeah, and the way that character existed as like a very, promiscuous lady, for lack of a better way to put it.
I mean, I'm a truly modern woman.
That's the thing. Yeah, it's like I related to it a lot. I related a lot to her antics and her behavior.
So what she has coming up soon, and I think that this is definitely, and maybe we can at some point talk about this, the shows we're looking forward to this year. She has a show coming out on HBO this year called Run, which is a comedy thriller that she is the showrunner, writer, executive producer for, and is also starring in alongside Merritt Wever and Donald Gleason. That from what I think I heard about it, is like a girl going through a weird time in her life, like runs away on a weird road trip with an old flame.
Okay.
It's a comedy thriller, HBO.
Cool.
I'm down. Punch my ticket, bro.
She's the kind of person I would like love to fucking work for.
Oh my god, totally.
Maybe she's like the modern Woody Allen. British woman in 2020, Jewish man in 1975.
Call it what you want.
New York.
That's interesting.
How the times have changed.
It's an interesting take. We'll see how time plays on that one.
The breadth of ideas. I started watching, and I gotta continue it. The
Crashing?
No, the first show she wrote was Sandra Oh. Isn't it Sandra
Oh, Killing Eve. The first show she wrote is a show called Crashing that's on Netflix. It's very fucking good.
Okay, I'll check that out.
But yeah.
But it seems like they run
Killing
the gamut.
Killing Eve is badass.
It seems like she's got a litany of ideas that she can crank out and probably doesn't want to spend more than 2 seasons on one of them.
Well, that's more of a British style. They kind of know how to wrap things up in a sort of a cleaner way. Get in, get out. You know, I like
that's that. Because they call each season a series, and they already have that like mini-series mentality where they're like, we're going to do the whole fucking novel in 10 episodes.
Right.
And we're not going to, like, I've been bitching about, and I haven't watched them, but, like, The Man in the High Castle and Handmaid's Tale.
Right.
They've, like, surpassed the plot of the books, which
significantly.
Which to me is, like...
Handmaid's, I think.
Which to me is, like, a literary kind of...
Faux pas. It's just not.
I don't know. I want to, like, see the story told the way it should be told.
By the person who...
In, like, a really good way, you know?
Yeah. It does seem a little strange to be, like... writing Margaret Atwood's words for her.
I don't know. Or Philip K. Dick. Or like, these guys, you know, it's a little... Who the fuck do you think you are?
Do you consider yourself better than I am?
Yeah, which is like how Game of Thrones fell apart, more or less. But
Yep. That's not on the list.
Who do you... No, that is not on the list. That's right.
No, that is not on the list. Next thing on the list is The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
That's right.
Which I just finished the newest season while I was at home with my mom.
What did you think of this? The plot of this season, we didn't really get into that.
I really liked it. I do. I mean, the show obviously sparkles every time Lenny Bruce is there.
Oh man, the scenes with them.
The scenes with the two of them. Hubba.
And he goes, maybe before I die. And then I immediately was like, looking up the year he died. And I was like, oh, that's right. He died of a fucking heroin overdose, and he was found naked in his hotel room.
Yeah.
Poor bastard.
There's too much Jane Lynch.
That's going to be a scene we can look forward to next season.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's brutal.
You didn't like what'd you think of the Jane Lynch?
Well, it was hard. So
it was your Miss Julie.
I know, and I love Miss Julie, but you know what? I texted during her scenes because she's canceled.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you didn't see her tweet. She was mad at everyone for being mad at Pete Buttigieg, and she said, just so you know, everyone, billionaires in a wine cave have just as much say on what happens in this country as you do, and everyone was like,
oh boy,
why don't you get guillotined, baby?
Well, at least she wasn't like going full J.K. Rowling and being like, well, it's true. Like,
oh my God,
there are only 2 genders.
Yeah, that's a tough beat by her.
Can't
for
believe.
Sure. Did you see the tweet? Did you see the tweet about Buttigieg that was like, doesn't he remind you of that kid in middle school whose whole bit was how he's evil? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Honestly,
do you know the kid?
I wouldn't know. If you showed me a picture of like 3 guys who looked similar and told me one of them was Pete Buttigieg, I wouldn't be able to tell you which one it was.
Really? You're not tracking Mayor Pete?
I don't track a lot of the election stuff going on. Like I know
God, I don't know how you keep yourself together.
I know who I like.
Yeah.
Once in a while I'll look at the polls and I'll see that Biden's leading or Warren's beating Sanders out. And I'm like, these polls are based on them, like, calling old ladies who are home in the middle of the day or whatever. Like, everything's chaotic.
Anything else to say about Mrs. Maisel?
Yeah, we really went off the rails.
That's all right. We're just using the list. The list.
I don't know. We were ranting about how great Mrs. Maisel was.
Yeah, we kind of talked about how it's not barely worth discussing because it's just operating at such a high level.
I think because it ends on a big downer in the season.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna open itself up. Like I'm looking forward to Mrs. Maisel being on like a sitcom and doing the Lucille Ball thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's the next step.
I wonder how. Because we talked about how long the legs that this show has, that it could definitely go 7, 8.
I think it can.
I wonder if
the
the intent is
Mad
always
Men.
if the intent was always like to get her on a sitcom, doing the bit and like really rising.
I think so.
Like truly just exploding.
I think so.
Star.
Like I think she'll be she'll do the I Love Lucy thing or like be in a movie and be like
sure.
They'll be like you're a real actress now, and she's taking acting classes.
Right.
And, it's so funny, and it's so like, just it's the kind of thing like I want to take the effort to make something like that if I'm ever working on a project. To be like, we're gonna do this in one shot, and it'll take a couple days instead of doing it in 10 shots over the course of a couple days.
Sure. But even, I mean, just the production design on that thing is so incredible. The costumes in the rooms, the interiors of that show just like explode on the screen.
Well, it's the kind of thing you can tell where like every designer is being encouraged to be really creative.
Yeah.
Like it's not like there's one person dictating, like, not necessarily. I mean, there is obviously people figuring out the overall vision of the thing. I feel like the designers have a lot of power and a lot of creative power.
Yeah,
to just go nuts, and they're all on the same team with that.
Yeah, they're in an
cooperating.
encouraging environment.
Yeah, they're building this vision together instead of like being forced to do something that is against their instincts.
Yeah, totally. I know exactly what you're saying. And I think that everything that we've talked about on our list, because I'm sure that show is just like such a pleasure to be a part of, like to work on it, to go to work there every day.
Oh my God.
And all the shows that we've talked about, like, because of the worlds that are built inside of them, seem like they are just like a fucking playground for people. I mean, The Deuce is such an environmental poem, you know what I mean? Especially the early seasons when it was really the gnarly, rough Times Square, which is also one of the best contrasts with the like Upper East Side part of Manhattan.
Sure.
That they're in Mrs. Maisel.
Sure, and you're like, that is, 10 years, 5 years difference or whatever.
Yeah,
and Mad Men's going on down the street.
Yeah, and that one really exists in the middle of the two of them.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, 60, 70 is always the best. Always some of the best stuff. Mike, do you think the people know what the last show of our championship ring, our first annual championship ring in REVUE is?
Well, we already announced it.
No, we didn't. The battery died. Hit the fucking music!
Oh!
Dad be the OG.
I ain't playing.
Jeremy Strong. Also on the list of egregious Golden Globe snubs.
Yeah.
Ken Dog. Get the fuck out of my face. Whatever.
Did this show get a writing nom?
I don't think... Is there... I can't remember.
Jesse Armstrong get the... Isn't that his name?
Jesse Armstrong? Yeah, he's the showrunner. We have our list right here, and I do believe that... I think it got a best...
I don't know if we wrote down writing.
We did every category.
We did a lot of categories.
We did all the categories.
This was our...
It is nominated for best TV series drama, and we have that. We have that down. Got that.
That was the one we hoped would win.
It's really just Sarah Snook and Jeremy Strong not getting nominated for those two fucking golden performances.
I mean, I think everyone on that should get an award.
We talked about that, how like everyone is deserving. Like,
yeah. There's not a weak link.
No. What haven't we said?
I don't know, man. That's the thing. Like, if you want to hear what we think about Succession, go listen to most of the episodes of this podcast.
Yeah.
Because...
They all have Succession in capital letters.
Yeah, we were following that. I think we were doing 2 episodes at a time.
Yeah.
We were leapfrogging those episodes, but it was an obsession, and it still is. That show is gonna have a really great next season. It's set up to knock it out of the park, and it's a real tragedy that it's not getting more attention.
But I think that if it wins Best Drama Series, it might be kind of the coronation.
Yeah, I think the buzz is getting out. There's been a lot. You know, the real meme of it has been that theme song that you just played.
The theme. Oh, Nicholas Patel's theme is one of the fucking best things ever.
I've seen a million twitterings.
A lot of twitterings about it. Nicholas Patel, that guy is silently easily the best composer in TV and film right now. He also did the score for If Beale Street Could Talk, which is just fucking incredible.
That was maybe the main thing Game of Thrones had going for it was the composer.
A righteous theme.
The composer guy was out of control.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's gonna be making movies.
Who is it?
Making great. His name is hard to pronounce.
Sure.
I can't.
Sure.
It starts with an R.
Renoir.
It's Middle Eastern, and I don't even want to. I don't even want to try.
Sure. That's right.
I'll say Mahershala Ali, but
Succession for life. I don't know. I just give me more.
Yeah, Succession.
Probably it was
I think if we were rating this, we'd both agree that this was the best one of the year.
Yeah. And it's probably the best thing that I've seen for a long time. I mean, since
I think a lot of people are turned off by the idea of watching a show about billionaires and having any empathy with them.
Sure.
And I guarantee you really won't. They're despicable, and it shines this light on just the kind of shit that the planet they come from, because it is not our planet.
It's an insular world.
Yeah.
That they're inside of. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And I'm a middle class kid.
It's a far.
It is not the same planet.
Yeah, even the wealthier people that we know in our lives. It happened in the middle of a thought, but that happens in real life too, not just on podcasts.
Yeah. One of the things we're gonna work on is getting our situation batteryless.
Yeah, we'd like to run from wall power in 2020.
Yeah, we're working on it.
So look forward to that.
Yeah, donate to our future coming Patreon or
Venmo, me personally.
Or hit me up on my premium Snapchat.
Hit me up on my OnlyFans.
Hit me up on Kick.
Sure.
Kick me.
Sure. Yeah. Well, so as you can tell, the battery died. Fell out in the middle of our conversation about Succession.
But that's okay.
Because we've had the
You can listen to hours of us talking about Succession.
Hours and hours and hours. So I guess, that's it. That's the championship ring.
That is our first annual championship ring. Top 8 shows of the year.
Year in review. All right, part 1 done. So
we were also going to talk about
some flicks.
Christian has watched no less than 150,000 movies this year.
Shit, yeah. I wish that I've seen a lot of people have been recording their everything that they watched in 2020, old movies included, and I wish I had done that.
I mean, I had all the TV shows written down on Post-its, and then we lost the shit, and then I lost the Post-its. So let's say I watched 50,000 movies. I mean, TV shows.
I think you did.
I watched a lot of TV shows, but we're here to talk about your list of movies, Christian.
So I watched 40. My goal is to get to 50. So how do you want me to do you want me to just go down the list and we can have whatever chat we think we want to have?
Sure. I mean, I've probably seen. You've seen 5 of the movies you're going to talk about.
You've seen several of these.
But I've also heard of a lot.
We saw a couple of these together. We saw a fair number of these together, actually.
We saw The Lighthouse with our hands in each other's laps.
That's right. Jerking each other off.
Violently.
So the bottom of this list, some of these movies I straight up didn't like. I hesitated to put this is my top 40 movies because
they're just movies that you watched and you didn't
and then I
like.
ranked them.
You just happened to have watched
But these last 7 movies I didn't really like at all. So I'll just bang them out, but I do have 2 I want to point out.
Bang them out.
Velvet Buzzsaw, that was that horror movie with Jake Gyllenhaal about the art gallery that came out on Netflix. Do you remember this?
Yeah, and I didn't really like the last one that much. The one about the psycho photographer.
Nightcrawler?
Yeah, isn't it the same director or something?
Oh, was it?
It seemed similar vibe.
I never saw Nightcrawler, actually.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
That was my least favorite movie of the year. The Between Two Ferns movie I also did not like. That's my number 39.
Yeah. I think if you like that sort of thing, you should check out The Now Show with Jack Bell on...
Oh, god damn it! I was gonna do it. It was gonna be a really cute moment. I was gonna say our last show of the year is The Now Show.
Oh,
god
shit.
damn it.
The Now Show with Jack Bell, grown-up costume party on YouTube.
Look that up.
It's like Between Two Ferns with no money and people you won't recognize.
Shit, yeah. Damn it. God damn it. We should do an episode where we interview each other about The Now Show.
No.
This movie I want to talk about because this movie fucking sucked. This is a movie called Long Shot that I don't recall who directed this. It's about Seth Rogen as a kind of bumbling stoner Brooklyn newspaper reporter who used to be babysat by now Secretary of State Charlize Theron.
That's a hat on a hat.
It is one of the most objectively unfunny movies I've seen in a long time. The writing is really like late 90s trash bad.
This you saw in theaters? Are
No,
these
I
all
saw-
movies you saw in theaters?
No, I didn't see it. I saw probably half of these in theaters, half of them streaming.
Okay.
This one I watched, it's on Hulu or on Amazon. Hulu or Amazon, I watched it at my mom's house. It was just
it's pretty
like,
deeply buried because I've never even heard of the damn thing.
poof, and didn't like it. Triple Frontier, that movie was actually alright.
Is that the Ben Affleck?
That's
like,
the Affleck movie.
Ben Affleck tough guys in the...
It was actually kind of satisfying, but not really my kind
It's like The Expendables or something.
There's a lot of those Netflix movies that are buried at the bottom of my list. The Dirt, that was the Motley Crue biopic.
You know, I kind of loved that movie.
Me too, but it was like I docked it significantly because you really missed an opportunity. Like that movie could have been fucking awesome.
That movie also like made like Tommy Lee look justified punching a girl in the face.
Yes, it did, which is not
even though like they just changed a lot of things that happen in real life.
All right, we're going too slow because I don't want to talk about a lot of these movies.
I don't think that's a good thing about it. I just want to point out.
Sure, yeah, that's why it's not high on my list. Greta, bleh. El Camino, what are you gonna do? Knives Out, I'm in the minority on this one. I did not like that shit. The Aftermath, this was Keira Knightley joint. It was fine. Beach Bum, Harmony Korine, it is whatever. Dead Don't Die, the Jim Jarmusch movie. Maybe I just didn't get it. Us, this is another controversial pick. People pretend that movie's too good.
Yeah, I didn't.
We saw that one together.
I think it was tough to sophomore album because Get Out was such a great fucking movie.
And I don't know. I just don't know if the conceit was great.
It was just a little confused, I think.
Yeah. The Mustang, this was a good indie movie. This is where the movies actually start getting pretty good. The Mustang was good, but it's just, brutal prison movie. This is just not, they're just not that fun. The Two Popes. This movie kind of bored me. Anthony Hopkins is really funny in it. He's like on top of it.
How's the other guy?
Jonathan Pryce, he's good. He's playing an Argentinian guy, and he's a British guy.
Does he slap some lady?
Do
you see that shit?
Have you seen
that
my god,
video?
that's a hell of a clip.
This is the week that some woman
wouldn't let go of the Pope.
Grabs his arm, almost knocks him over, and he like bats her hand away.
It's so funny.
Like he is her grandmother, and he's about to hit her with his chancla. It's fucking hilarious.
So glad we have that on record. Next movie. This is top 25. The Report. That was the Torture Papers Amazon movie with Adam Driver. That was pretty good. Oh, I skipped Under the Silver Lake. That was 26. That movie's good. You should watch that.
That's the movie.
It's really long.
A girl told me to watch that, and I looked up the trailer, and this was the girl that I had a crush on.
And I said she would.
I hope she hears this. And I did have a huge crush on her at one point, and she's like, "You should look up this movie." And it's about a guy who's obsessed with this girl. I'm trying to find her. And I was like,
I thought that was very funny when you told me that.
It was ironic.
24 is this Russian-American movie called White Crow about this bad boy male ballerina. It was awesome. It was fucking great. I can't believe it's all the way down at 24 because it was a really good movie. The Brink. This is a Steve Bannon documentary that's fucked. Everyone should watch that.
Who's Steve Bannon?
Trump's old boy. He was like his campaign advisor.
Oh, yes.
He's the Breitbart guy.
Yes.
Oh my god, or the Drudge Report guy, whatever. You should watch that. That's crazy.
I watched the Roger Stone one that came out years ago.
Right.
Get me Roger Stone.
Yep.
That guy's a real piece of shit.
There's another Bannon one I think that just came out. An Errol Morris one. Brittany Runs a Marathon. Really pretty precious just super clean, really great narrative.
That's the girl from Workaholics, right?
Yeah, and she's great in it. She gives a great.
Okay, I'll watch that.
And the guy, that's on Hulu. It's really
good. I've watched the trailer.
Or on Amazon.
That looks cute.
It's good. It's good. It's a solid indie flick. It reminds me of movies from like 2005, 2006.
Okay.
Dolomite Is My Name is number 21. The movie's awesome.
Man, I feel like that would be higher on my list, but I don't know if I've watched 20. I mean, I'd have to think.
It was a great movie. I see, like, from 20...
We've reviewed that already.
Here,
so,
this is...
that's one of the most inspiring... I'm going to watch it again when I, am trying to make a movie and need some inspiration.
Well, and one thing that we talked about when we first reviewed the movie was it's just so nice to see a really great star power driven comedy that has a solid plot.
Yeah.
Like, what happened to those?
Yeah.
Those just don't exist
anymore. And it's an ensemble.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy's carrying that thing.
Sure, he's an ensemble in and of himself.
Yeah.
Number 20 is shout out to the blog boys who will be mad about this, is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's number 20. It's high on my list. It's a great movie. It's probably my favorite Tarantino movie, but what are you going to do?
You think that's your favorite Tarantino?
We kind of went over this. I think it was like the second episode that we did.
Yeah.
Was reviewing that movie.
I'm just such a...
I need to rewatch it.
I think I'm probably almost stuck in Jackie Brown as my answer to that question.
Sure. I get, yeah.
Until something comes out better than that. I guess.
Sure. 19, Bombshell.
Dude, okay, so
Bombshell's good, very good.
There were 2 movies that I wanted to see this last couple weeks. You were like, I'm going to see a million movies. You and Jordan. What's up, Jordan? Jordan Matthews, if you're listening. Both wanted me to see Uncut Gems.
We'll get to that.
I was less interested in that than I was Bombshell.
Crazy.
I really wanted to see Bombshell because I love that kind of...
Bombshell's really solid.
I love the
really solid
downfall of, that sort of thing.
I don't know if Lithgow, like if we could do a casting shift, might not be my pick. That's like the kind of role that you're like...
You need someone awful.
Well, like if it's the kind of thing that like if Phil Hoffman were still alive, would have added a level to that movie, because
and there's a big Phil Hoffman shaped hole right now.
Oh, absolutely. And God, who did I just say? Lithgow. When I've only seen some of his Churchill and The Crown.
Yeah.
But I'm not super into like Lithgow putting on the fat suit and now I don't know. He's such a big theater actor that it's kind of it seems a little stagey.
I just thought that movie looked like one I'd want to see. That's
good.
I wanted to see that, and I wanted to see Cats. And I still want to see Cats.
You motherfucker. Bombshell. I'd highly recommend Bombshell to people who like to stare at Margot Robbie.
Yeah. So we know that Cats is higher up on Christian's list.
Oh my God. All right. Number 18 is Booksmart. This is seriously, I think that this is the highest rated comedy.
Oh, is this the one with Jonah Hill's little sister?
With Beanie Feldstein. It's so about these two girls
you said it was
best
like
friends.
Girl Superbad.
It's like Girl Superbad, yeah. Directed by Olivia Wilde. It didn't get a lot of love, I think, at the box office over the summer, and Olivia Wilde was pissed about that, and I fucking get why she was pissed about it, because this movie is so fucking funny, and it's on one of them.
What's it called?
Booksmart.
Booksmart.
It's so good.
Booksmart. I feel like you've told me about that, and the name leaves my head.
It's so fucking good.
It's called Booksmart.
Booksmart. 16, 17 are the 2 Soderbergh movies that came out on Netflix. The Laundromat and High Flying Bird.
Okay, which is higher?
High Flying Bird.
Yeah, you're a basketball guy.
It's fucking awesome. Kima, I forget that actress's name. Kima from The Wire has a supporting role in it. She's an agent. All right, who knows? Who knows where we were on the list?
Well, we had talked about Succession.
And I was in.
We've had movies. We've had to replace the batteries a couple of times. We're down on your movie list.
Yeah, this is
the
year-end review extravaganza.
I know where this is our review.
Oh, we were talking about the Soderbergh movies.
Yes, and I was surprised that you put the one Soderbergh movie that we both saw, The Laundromat.
I don't know if I
above
High Flying Bird. I don't know.
No, I'm surprised you put that above the Eddie Murphy movie.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Dude, you gotta watch High Flying Bird. Those movies are great. Alright, whatever. We already talked about that.
Alright, let's keep going down the list.
So now we're in top 15. High Life, the Claire Denis movie about the floating space prison starring Robert Pattinson.
That sounds kind of cool.
It's fucking good, man. That's a really good movie.
Sci-fi?
Yeah, and it's actually her first... Is it Claire Denis' first English-speaking film?
Cara Delevingne?
Claire Denis?
The beautiful Parisian chick?
Juliette Binoche is in this movie.
Huh.
Claire Denis...
Is this the same guy who made...
No, Claire Denis is like one of the most revered
I'm thinking,
female film directors of all time.
I'm thinking of... What's that model's name? Cara Delevingne.
Oh, Cara Delevingne?
Delevingne. Yes.
She would have made sense in this movie, but the part that she would have played is played by Mia Goth, who serves a very similar...
Okay.
It's really good. I'd look that up. You'd like it a lot.
She was in that last movie by the Fifth Element vibe movie, the Valerian movie.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that.
It's the same director.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
It's not as good as Fifth Element.
My number 14 is a fucking sick French-American movie that I saw on a random snowy night in April, having no idea what I was getting into. It's called Climax. It's a dance film. It's about a bunch of dancers who go to this special training camp thing in New York, and they get dosed with acid. The movie opens with this really crazy sequence.
You told me about this.
Of like these VHS TV interviews with all the dancers where they are talking about themselves, and it's like so intimate and raw with the way they talk. And like there's one guy who's like, I'm the devil, and then it never goes back to him, but then you like are reintroduced to him inside the world of the thing, and there's like these extended dance sequences that are like so crazy, and it's
okay. I want to see this. This sounds cool.
It's really fucking good, and seeing it alone in Kimball's, I was like, it was a shocking experience, and it was a fucking great movie. Next one is The Lighthouse. We've talked about The Lighthouse. Lighthouse is great.
Lighthouse, lots of masturbation.
This is a place on my list where I feel like I fucked something up, so I'm gonna switch something. And I'm going to pull Marriage Story back to the 12th spot.
Is it because of my poor review?
No, it's just...
I don't want to have too much influence
over...
No,
the further I get,
anyone,
the further I get away from it, I feel different about it. But I've already reconciled some of these mistakes by myself on here. So
then you're forgiven.
So then I'm going to pull that back to number 12, and then at number 11 is where I'm going to put a really fucking cool movie called The Nightingale. One of the most brutal movies I've seen in a long time, directed by the woman who directed The Babadook, but I forgot her name. It's about, like, early 19th century Aborigine Australia and the British Army's, like, basically their genocide of the Aborigine culture there, and this Irish slave girl exacting her revenge on
behalf of the Aborigines?
With an Aborigine tour guide.
Okay, so it's not the Great White Savior...
No. But it's a great piece between these two, this young Aborigine boy and this Irish girl.
That sounds cool.
Killing these fucking Brit sons of bitches.
That sounds cool.
It's fucking good. It's on Hulu. You should watch it.
I do like it when
It's a great revenge story, but it is very brutal. In the first 15 minutes, there's at least 3 scenes that you're like, I can't believe I'm watching this.
This kind of movie that'll trigger right-wingers, you think? Because it's critiquing colonialism.
I don't know. It's a good question.
It's a really easy thing to critique, if you ask me.
Yeah, it is. When you watch this movie, you get really upset.
When you read anything about history, it's
really upsetting.
You get pretty upset.
So you really root for the revenge in this revenge tale, I'll say.
I dig that.
So that was my number 11, and my number 10 is a fucking great movie called The Mountain. I forget this director's name, but it stars Jeff Goldblum as a lobotomist in the 60s, making his kind of last tour as hospitals start to outlaw that sort of practice.
Yeah, you told me about this.
It's
wow, this is really that high up on your list?
It's really fucking good. Also on Hulu.
Lobotomy stuff is terrifying.
It's this movie.
And if you research the history of that at all, you'll be amazed how
long we were doing that.
Yeah.
And that's really what this movie's about.
Yeah, people who are still alive were lobotomized.
I don't know if this is, it's definitely like the mental health hit of the year.
Yeah. Not to say that lobotomy will give you any longevity in life.
No. But my number 9 movie is The Last Black Man in San Francisco, which is a really beautiful, independent small production that that's a really autobiographical story about the guy that's in it, about gentrification in San Francisco, and
which is now the most expensive city in
the country.
Despite being so goddamn neoliberal and full of crap.
Yep. It reminds me of a city called Denver.
Or many other cities.
Or many others. That was the prescience of the movie itself was.
Or Brooklyn, or
sure. Yeah. It was fucking great.
Gentrification doesn't affect you much if you're the one moving in.
No. Nope.
Yeah.
Number 8's The Irishman. We talked about The Irishman.
Oh wow, that's up there, huh?
It's the longer because I've seen that one twice.
You've been letting it gestate.
Yeah, the more I like it, the more I think that Pacino needs to win Best Supporting Actor.
I need to watch the thing you were telling me. There's like a round table with all of those guys, and you were saying how Pacino's just talking shit.
No,
like,
Pesci
not
talks
Pacino.
Pesci talks
Pesci's like seems like you were saying he seems like the most legitimately street guy in that crew.
Sure. Yeah, Pesci seems tough.
Yeah.
Pesci seems tough.
Yeah. The only one
There's another really...
The only one I've ever seen take him down was Kevin McAllister.
There's another really good roundtable that I want to watch. That's all of the Oscar nominated or the Golden Globe nominated directors, which includes Todd Phillips, who directed The Joker.
Yikes, that's got to be...
And I guess there's a moment in the thing where Scorsese's like, I haven't seen it.
He's like, what else have you done?
So, Scorsese is just really high on my list of...
That's great.
People right
now.
God,
that guy's got to feel like the 13th at a party or whatever. That's got to be awkward as hell.
The Joker guy?
Oh, yeah, right? Doesn't he have, he's got nothing under his belt, right? Other than that.
Comedies. He was a comedy director.
Yeah. Well...
But I mean,
that movie's supposed to be hilarious.
I think anyone sitting at the table with Scorsese's got to feel a little less than.
Well, he's ripping off 2 Scorsese movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, son of a bitch, everybody. I don't really know what to say. We had those big-time battery problems. What can I tell you? So we didn't finish the list. Maybe in the next episode we'll come back to it. I do think that we're planning on doing one to respond to the Golden Globes, Oscar nominations, and stuff like that. Maybe we'll get to my top 7 movies. Really, what you missed there at the end as we kept talking, not knowing that the recording was over, is I got to Little Women. We were talking about Florence Pugh, and then I informed Mike that Florence Pugh is dating Zach Braff, and he lost his mind. And I'm so sad that we don't have that on tape. But maybe we can remanufacture that moment and give it to you. Otherwise, thanks for listening. Everybody have a happy 2020.